Hello. We meet again. I think. Depending on how the sound check goes. Or we might not meet again. Hello. We meet again. I think. Depending on how the sound check goes. We might not meet again. Hello. Alright. We're good. Hey, people. You want to see some Felcon and Lotus Knighthood? That would be a throwback. We have Black Knight and Lamb Sauce King, and while people gather, I do need you to do me a favor. Black Knight needs a faction from either his beloved High Elves, his Wood Elves, or his Dark Elves. This man's starting on an elf, but he needs your help to choose which one. So if you could type in chat one of the elves, I will tell, well, I mean, he can probably see it too, but first one to get to 3 votes will get it. So who's he starting on? Hey, Muffin Master. So in chat, post High Elves, Wood Elves, or Dark Elves, and then we'll get into the stream proper. But so we can start making his build, we'll do that to buy some time. Felcon and Lotus, that's a throwback? Dude, I haven't seen either of them play in forever. 2 Wood Elves already, 1 Dark Elf. 1 more Wood Elf, and that is what he's starting with. A lot of Wood Elves tonight. Jesus. Okay. 4 votes for Wood Elves. Now he's not locked. Knighthood's spamming them High Elves. Elf me up before you go. Alright, so I'm going to get rid of the blocker. Black Knight said feel free to make fun of his build, so it's a for fun stream, so that seems fine. So we're going to switch over to Wood Elves. Now, what is going on tonight? What the hell is Tzeentch's Arena? What's all this nonsense? It's something that I thought would be fun. I came up with the idea. I was messaging Coops about it a week and a half ago? 2 weeks ago? I don't remember. Then I got busy with a bunch of stuff. But tonight seems like a good night for it. No more silly drama, no more nonsense. Just do some silly games. So what's going on? It is a best of 5 between Lamb Sauce King and Black Knight, 2 people I messaged that I know are pretty good about if they lose, like not raging super hard, just kind of have chill personalities. Because the nature of tonight's contest is silliness, it is shenanigans. So I have changed for this lobby the funds to 15,000 rather than 12,400, and I threw unit caps on. Those are the only 2 rules on making your army. If there's anything crazy and weird about unit caps, you can exploit it if you find it. Also, the funds, like I said, being higher could affect how these matchups go between the Wood Elves and the Empire, right? And then round 2, whatever I feel like changing, we'll change it again. Maybe we do 5,000 funds, so significantly less funds, but then say, hey, just 1 single entity so don't end up with like a 4-unit army of Hero Hammer Blob or something. Or, fuck it, maybe we go 24,000 funds for the one after that. I don't know. Maybe we turn unit caps off entirely and just say, hey, here's 24,000 funds, no unit caps, fucking go nuts. Do whatever. That's up to you. Well, up to me, up to them, up to everybody. If either of the contestants wants to change their faction at any point, they can do so, but they cannot pick what it is. They have to ask you, the beloved chat, if game 1, if Lamb Sauce gets slapped by Black Knight's Wood Elves and he wants to change factions, he needs to just tell me, I want to change factions. And then we'll do what we just did at the start of the stream here, except for Black Knight, we know he wanted to start with an elf because those are his best 3 factions. But if Lamb Sauce wants to switch, I'll just ask you, chat, what faction does he get? And the first faction to get 3 votes out of all the factions in the whole game is what he's going to have to turn to. If chat gives him corn, you're stuck on corn, buddy. So it should just be good fun, silliness, shenanigans, not too serious. And that is, to try this out and see if it was popular, I did want to put my best foot forward, so I hit up these guys because I know they're both pretty chill. You know, because, like, it could be pretty annoying to certain types of people, myself included, sometimes when it's like, hey, I want to be on stream, I want to do this stuff, and chat picked me fucking Slanesh, and game 2 was 24,000 funds, so my opponent had Grand Cathay and just super boxed and killed me. Fun game, fun time. Thanks, streamer, man. So, yeah, just picked 2 people I know to be extremely chill. 24k, that's a lot of Way Watchers. And it looks like Black Knight's already putting those funds to good use with Durthu and his beloved Tzeentch. But with the extra funds, you can actually have a full army around it rather than Durthu and the Tzeentch being your entire army. Now, to be fair, round 1 is 2,000 extra funds, so it's not that crazy of a difference. We have some Eagles, some great Stag Knights. Should be pretty good. For Lamb Sauce King, looks like we have the Fire Squad. Volkmar, a warrior priest that I imagine has the Flaming Banner. Knights of the Blazing Sun with their flaming attacks already. Some Huntsmen. It's a pretty good build. Could you allow one side to bring one Electric Count unit for one battle? That feels like a lot to focus on at the moment. Dog Roller 50 Keds, unit cap of 1 per. Grab all your elite stuff. That would kind of suck for the Empire, because I don't know if they could spend all of the funds. They don't have very expensive stuff. 1 Demigryph Knight, 1 Demigryph Knight with halberds, 1 Steam Tank, 1 Hellblaster Volley Gun, 1 Sunmaker, 1 Luminarch of Hish, 1 Karl Franz, 1 Spearman, 1 Swordsman, 1 Halberdier, 1 Greatsword. It's treason. Give them electors for it. Oh, Wicked, on the second reading I got it. I was being stupid. Treason, but you spelled it like trees. I'm clever. I'm a smart boy. Human Boy, how's your day doing? Hey, Cash. My day's going okay. My day's going okay. We had a good stream earlier. That was fun. I have some IRL stuff that's a little stressful. And some drama in my life. That's also pretty stressful, but like things are good overall. We did watch the builds get constructed, but seeing them on the field, we do have the Firebark Elders, and they will be needing that fire resist against the build that Lamb Sauce brought. Why is my volume changing? That's weird. I don't like that. Anyway. We have the Enigmas of Gairon, Tzeentch with Bound Regrowth and Bound Flesh to Stones. A front line of Dryads, the Firebark Elders to add a little bit more mass there. I think I saw 2 great Stag Knights in the loading screen. Yes, I did. And then a bunch of Glade Riders with their skirmishing. I think I mentioned the double Great Eagle, but there is double Great Eagle. And Durthu, with just Flock of Doom and Sword of Daith. These mildly enhanced funds, giving a little bit more width to the Wood Elves. For the Empire, it's a pretty standard Empire build as far as the front line and back line goes. Huntsmen are amazing in most matchups, but especially versus the Wood Elves, they are rather key. Whereas extra funds went was the Knights. This is more Knights than you're used to having. Triple Knights of the Blazing Sun with Empire Knight support. Wait, is it 2 Knights of the Blazing Sun? Yes, 2 Knights of the Blazing Sun, 3 Empire Knights. And we have Volkmar the Grim with his Jade Griffin regen, and Soulfire Barn, Grad Shield of Faith, and Grand Hammer of Sigmar. Then we have a different Warrior Priest with the same 3 buffs, and a Banner of the Eternal Flame to give constant fire damage to preferably Empire Knights, since, like I said, the Knights Blazing Sun already have that fire damage. And then we have a Bright Wizard with Cascading Fire Cloak and Burning Head. No Flaming Sword of Ruin, which is surprising. You'd think you'd want the Flaming Sword of Ruin for some magic damage on these Huntsmen to get through the Dryad's physical resistance, but Cascading Fire Cloak's also pretty solid. Plus 24 melee defense. And you just kind of want to spam it out to get the Kindle Flame passive for your whole army, so all of your knights that are going to be buffed up with fire damage from the Warrior Priest and whatnot, so that they get 20% more damage. What up, Blake's Takes? It's been a while. I remember you. There's a face I remember. Someone say fire. Someone say howitzer! If you're Dog Reel, if you're referring to that Futurama episode, I fucking died laughing the first time I heard someone said howitzer. Well, yeah, but I don't see howitzer business. Someone said howitzer, and he just fucking murders him. Oh, it gets me every time. I love that show. I'm just getting to the new seasons now. They seem fine. They seem fine. I don't really have any issues with them. But I can't tell if I'm just kind of like burnt out on Futurama. And we're off. Now Durthu and the boys do a Vanguard deployment, so they're already up here. Dryad's taking a bit of damage, though. So are the Glade Riders. We're going to have to back off soon. I love your vids. Cash, you talking to Blake's Takes? Because he has some pretty good vids. We love the takes around here. Volkmar fighting some Dryads. Knights of the Blazing Sun plowing into them. That extra fire damage getting through these guys. The Grand Hammer of Sigmar, plus the Grand Shield of Faith. A ton of melee attack and damage resistance. But on the other side, Durthu is making his move on this side. And does he use a Sword of Death, or is he holding it until that Shield of Faith wears off? Man, Durthu is taking a lot of damage. Big burning head through the Wood Elves. Kind of just tickles the backline, though. Does not hurt the Firebark Elders. Does not hurt the Great Stag Knights too much. And the Empire Knights plus the Knights of Blazing Sun are getting slammed. The Sword of Death reducing their armor. 20% ward save with the Shield of Faith is nice, but it's not enough to stop the violence that Great Stag Knights can inflict upon Empire Knights on the charge. So the Wood Elves are getting through that left-hand side quite nicely, and the Empire's already bringing over reinforcements to try and bail out this bad situation as the Great Eagles dive the Huntsmen. We still have 2 Huntsmen alive and willing to fire. They are pushing off some Glade Riders, but the top side of the Empire is clean. There's, you know, everything up there is fine. The Huntsmen are going to have to do a lot of work because the Wood Elves focused all of their effort on the south side, and they are getting through. 1 Huntsman is down. Halberdiers are down. Knights of the Blazing Sun falling back. Balance of power is still about 50-50, but I'm concerned now that Durthu is walking among the fields of men, slapping through some Huntsmen. Dryads are trying to just skirt the front line. They realize they're not getting through the swordsmen fast enough, so they are focusing more on just disruption. You can see these ones are just trying to run over here rather than actually keep fighting. Doesn't matter. With the Empire, same as the Skaven, same as Cathay, the ranged units are what you want to get to, so you can sacrifice a lot to just ignore the front line of the Empire and clean it up later. An unholy pile of cavalry has formed as Empire Knights physically hold back the tides of the Wood Elves. They're not about cycle charging, they're not about getting damage right now, they're about creating space because their backline has gone to shit so quickly that they're just playing the role of, hold on, now everybody just stop for a second. Just let us breathe. So they pile up on the Firebark Elders, the Great Eagle, the Dryads, and try and buy the Huntsmen a little bit of space. To their credit, we still have 2 full health Huntsmen back here firing away. We have a 3rd Huntsman that is going to rally soon, and Swordsmen are grouping up around them, but Black Knight is going to start using these Glade Riders as a bit of suicide dive bombers into that backline to shut down the Huntsmen once more until Empire Knights can be peeled back here. Wood Elves are up on gold damage value. They're up on the balance of power, and I am forced to agree. The Grand Hammer of Sigmar, Shield of Faith is coming out, but they are buffing up nobody as dead men fight no Wood Elves. Empire Knights terror routing. It looks like they will rally. It doesn't look like they're actually routing just yet. But if the Huntsmen go down, the game goes with them. Looks like the Glade Riders are here for that. Empire Knights will get a rear charge. And that should peel for the Huntsmen again. I just don't know if the Huntsmen are ever going to have enough time to stay up and firing to get enough done. As the Great Stag Knights, I thought I saw the Enigmas of Gairon over here. I guess I was mistaken, but yeah, if the Great Stag Knights can clean up those Empire Knights, then nothing is left to defend the Huntsmen. And all of a sudden, everything's going to fall apart. So the Cav and mobility engagement going to the Wood Elves was a huge deciding factor, and the Enigmas of Gairon are full HP. Durthu got a regrowth from the bound Enigmas spell, so they already used that. Firebark Elders also very healthy, so that's a lot of thick armor to get through. Even if the Huntsmen were alive, they might have issues with that, but the Great Stag Knights pulling through in the end. Quick little buff stacking from Volkmar to try and bail out the late game situation here, and Huntsmen are firing downhill onto the Great Stag Knights. Great Stag Knights, only 60 armor and bronze shields facing the wrong way, because of course they're busy fighting something, not just dealing with the Huntsmen. They do take a lot of damage. We can see what the Huntsmen were capable of if they had been kept online literally all game, but the Wood Elves just played really good to get into that backline and start messing with some things. The Great Eagles especially, because there's no healing here. Durthu didn't bring, like, Earthblood or anything. So these Eagles actually just have this amount of HP. They were able to dive that backline of Huntsmen and just keep them from destroying the Great Stag Knights, keep them from messing up with the Enigmas. And we saw a ton of damage come down to Durthu, but since then, the Enigmas got him that regrowth and got him back up to full. But at a point in time, I think he was around, like, just around half HP, maybe a little above it. Great Stag Knights charging through the Huntsmen, but think it's about over. Where are we at for damage and stuff here? Still have 2 Great Eagles with a ton of combat prowess, and yeah, Lamb's gonna give it up. Now, I am curious. Does he stay on Empire, or does he pivot to you, chat, to give him a new faction? We will find out. I'll set the map, I'll set the funds, and we'll see if he is ready to roll the dice. Or does Black Knight roll the dice, just decide, you know what, fuck Wood Elves. But he does open himself up to any faction in the game, not just his beloved elves. The elf vote at the start was just because Black Knight's really good at elves, and we opened the floor. So let's pick a map, let's pick a condition, and then ask our players if they want to switch. Let's go with Forest of Shadows, custom funds. Let's do a full 24,000 unit caps off. I'm sending both the players the same message. 24,000 money. Unit caps are off. Map is set. If you want to switch factions, now is the moment. Otherwise, good luck and have fun. Staying Empire. Chat friends, Black Knight is asking if he needs a new faction. Yes or no? Hyper quick vote. Does Black Knight need a new faction? Go, 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 go. If he does, I will then ask you what faction, but for now we gotta figure out if he even needs another one. Or do you want game 2 of the Wood Elves on hyper funds? $11 votes. So far, only 1 saying he doesn't need Wood Elves. The Wood Elf gang is starting to rally the more votes we get. I'll kind of pace it out and see when we start to taper off on votes, but 17 votes out of 32 people watching is pretty good as far as ratios go. All right, votes are tapering off. It is 78%. So, chat, you are up. First faction to 3 votes in chat gets it. So start spamming out your favorite factions now. Black Knight opting for a new faction. Lamb Sauce has also opted for a new faction, but we'll do that vote separate. So for now, go. Skaven. Demons of Chaos. Blake's takes, that's a Zapparanigan thing. I like it. Demons of Chaos. Lizardmen. Slaanesh. Demons of Chaos have 2. Coast. Khorne. Lizardmen. Slaanesh have 3? Is that 3? Yes, that is 3 for Slaanesh. So Black Knight will be on Slaanesh, but I'm just starting a ... After the ... the votes are now going for Lamb Sauce, who is also switching. Go, 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 go. We have 1 for High Elves, for Lamb Sauce King. Anything after the ... counts for Lamb Sauce. As I go to give Black Knight his point, I am sure the chat will not explode while I'm doing that. All right, High Elves, Demons of Chaos, Lizardmen. Demons of Chaos have 2. Do we see 3? Slaanesh again from Coops wants a Slaanesh mirror match, and there's the Demons of Chaos. Plenty of Demons of Chaos votes. Demons of Chaos versus Slaanesh for Game 2. 24K funds is quite a lot. Actually gives the Demons of Chaos tons of options with what to do here. That is almost double the amount of funds you get in a quick battle game. Give us Red Ogre versus the Bubblegum Pink Demon Prince. You love to see it. So far, Black Knight has a strong mobility core and some Demonettes for the front line. After that, he's stopping to think for a second. Demons of Chaos gets the extended roster with caps off. I guess, it doesn't look like unit caps do anything to the Demons of Chaos. Because they don't have the Warriors of Chaos. Because if they were playing as the Warriors of Chaos, then giving them the extended roster would give them all the demons, which is huge. But, yeah. Unit caps are off. These guys can do anything with their armies. But the sheer amount... Look at Black Knight struggling with the sheer amount of funds, because he wants these Skirmish Cav, because it's the only range Slaanesh has. But they're so cheap that he's like, what the hell do I spend the rest of my money on? As he has 6 Exalted Demonettes of Slaanesh. Doesn't give a single shit. On the other side, so far we have Arkalux, Prince of Fury, and then some Nurglings and Toads. But I wonder if he's going to upgrade the Nurglings to a better front line just because of the money. Like, look, he has 5 unit slots left and he hasn't even spent half of his funds. He's going too cheap. Let's see what he does. Black Knight manages to spend all of his funds. He does manage to by slipping a Soul Grinder in there. Still has some range, so he can't get air cheesed by Demons of Chaos. Though, with all the Rampage changes, it is much harder to get air cheesed as a faction with Rampage, because finally the Rampage works correctly, so if a flying unit gets Rampage, it gets dragged to the ground. Nurglings were cut for Exalted Plague Bearers. And still, he has 6,500 gold left before hitting the end. Black Knight's doing some fine-tuning, but he seems to have figured out kind of what he wants to do with his build here. Things are pretty well set. Azazel looks quite expensive. I guess he has 3 spells, but Jesus, still. Now Lambsauce is toying with Be'lakor. Got himself some Exalted Bloodletters. Their armor piercing will be wasted. Well, I guess Slaanesh could be going Chosen or Chaos Warriors for all he knows. Isn't Nakari's heal for super good into demons? Quite possibly. Vertical Glyph. Can someone please explain this to me, Antoyevich? The very short version is... It is a bit of a chaos stream. Every round, the amount of funds or the rules will change. Like this one, unit caps are off and the funds are almost double what you normally get. So you don't, you can take whatever. That's fine. And if you ever want to change factions from your starting thing, then chat gets to vote for your faction that you end up getting. First round was mildly increased funds with unit caps on at 15,000 instead of 12,400. And round 2 is a little bit more wild with 24,000 funds, unit caps off. Black not playing High Elves? Yes. What up, GS? What's this? I literally just went through it. I like how both sides are bringing the Eternal Entourage. Now that's a demon army. I like how he started out with 5 Nurglings and like 4 Plague Toads and ended up with 1 Nurgling, the ROR, and then only the ROR, Pox Rider, and got some Heartseekers of Slaanesh. Because it's like, it's actually a challenge to spend all of your money. You have so much money. You know what's funny is the Exalted Pink Horrors are like never taken. Even with all this funds, he's not taking them, and I don't blame him. Exalted Pink Horrors are just trash. They're just trash. Slaanesh is ready. Heartseekers are trash? They can be okay if you like Rampage Chaos Knights into them or something. Just do Nurgle-Blob, easy win. Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Oh, Flamers might get rampaged here, but if they don't get rampaged, they could actually be pretty good. Slaanesh is not the best at, like, shooting them. They don't have cannons or anything, right? Alright, we are ready. What's wrong with the Exalted Pinks? They don't have significantly higher weapon strength than the 700 gold Pink Horrors. Like, it's maybe, like, what is it, 25 to 30, so it's a 20% increase in damage for like a 35% increase in cost. It's just not worth it. Tharglings are always straight up in melee. We'll see. With this hyper elite status, it might be a little more difficult. Less entities in the Exalted Pinks, too. Ooh, that's brutal, Blake. I didn't know that. But that would also... Wouldn't that decrease your DPS a little bit? Because weapon strength... Your weapon strength doesn't factor in your model count. That's per model, right? I'm never good with that. I play a lot of this game, but I'm not a big stats guy. There are people like Alfair, honestly Lamb Sauce, who's in this game right now. People like that are really more into the stats than I am. I'm a very, like, performance-based person. I think my best example is the Centaurs of Tzeentch. The Centaurs of Tzeentch unit card, nothing about it makes sense to me for how they would perform as well as they do. But in-game, they perform really, really well, so I just say they're a good unit. But on paper, they don't look like they'd be that good. For their cost and their stats, it's not adding up. But they perform really well, so they're a good unit. And that's just kind of the type of player I am. I very much feel things out. Like, I try a unit, I feel it on the battlefield, and I decide for myself, this is bad or this is good. Right? And I could be wrong. Obviously, if I was right all the time, I'd be the best player alive, and I'm clearly not. But that's just how I do things. So, I don't know. The Exalted Pinks feel like trash to me. I look at the stat card and try and justify it, but I just know they feel bad. For the builds, where did we end up? Demons of Chaos still moving some stuff around for a bit, but I think I get the gist. We have 3 Heartseekers of Slaanesh, one of which is the Eternal Entourage. We have Barons of the Bog, Pox Riders of Nurgle, Streaking Skyrays, Screamer of Tzeentch, ROR. 2 Flamers. We do have the Sour Guts, Pink Horror, ROR, and then a bunch more Pink Horrors of Tzeentch. The Chromatic Abominations, Single Blue Horror, the Festering Stooges for Exalted Plague Bearers, and then regular Plague Bearers on the front line. Plague Bearers are not often taken in multiplayer. They're good at one thing, and that one thing is getting into a melee fight and finishing the melee fight out. The problem with them is that they're weak to archers, and they can get kited really easily with their slow speed and yada yada yada. But if you're just holding for a Pink Horror frontline, and you know your opponent is Slaanesh, who doesn't have a ton of ranged, Plague Bearers actually kind of make sense. And then we have Be'lakor. A very good lord with a quite prohibitive cost point. He's only really useful against Skaven traditionally, but with this much funds, might as well just slap him down and see what happens. Taking the Withering, Shadow Shroud, and Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma. So only the Withering and Melkoth's for his spells. Oh, and Enfeebling Foe. Hello, Enfeebling Foe. Dark Master and Shadow Shroud to keep him nice and safe. And then, of course, he has the heal when other things around him are low on leadership. For the forces of Slaanesh and Black Knight, we have 4 Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh, then the Eternal Entourage, triple Chaos Knights as well, a Soul Grinder, a Zazel, and Azazel did bring Pavane for the Rampage, and Lash just to spam out that army ability for Slaanesh if they need it in late game. Then we do have some Exalted Demonettes frontline. Unit caps are off, so I know at one point he was hovering 6 of them, and he did end up with 6. He has 5 Exalted Demonettes and 1 Bringers of Beguilement, so he has a 6th one. 3 Chaos Warriors of Slaanesh, the Mirror Guard in the back, and that is about it. The Slaanesh frontline is much better than what the Demons of Chaos brought for their frontline, but the Demons of Chaos have archers, quote-unquote, with the horrors. I heard Be'lakor has Secret Vanguard deploy. He does, but it only works against Lenormand. And it's when when Lenorm is playing Bellicor, sometimes Bellicor will just appear in the enemy spawn zone. He has to deal with it. Did the first game even start yet? Yes, the score at the very top of the screen is 1-0. This is the second game. Skirmish Cav gonna opt forward, and the demons, ooh. Okay, Melkos, that wasn't a rampage. For some reason, I forgot who had the rampage for a second. I was like, are they gonna get rampage back into their death? But nope, they're fine. Melkos slowing them down as they run away, but the demons roster is entirely unarmored. Ooh, Barons of the Bog at 80, I didn't know that. But these Skirmish Cav of Slaanesh have really no bad targets. They'll do just fine as long as they don't get caught in melee. The Pink Horrors are starting up on the Exalted Demonettes. The Chaos Warriors will get through the Blue Horrifier easily, but they are not going to want to fight the Held Forged Host. Unfortunately, that's just sometimes them's the breaks. But that Hyper Elite bonus versus infantry, heavily armor piercing, is going to roll the Chaos Knights. And it's a tough start here for Slaanesh. Lamsauce up 2-1 in damage value in this early game. Already going to lose some Exalted Demonettes. What can the Skirmish Cav do to even the odds a little bit? The Demon front line's going nowhere, dude. Look at these Plague Bearers just standing their ground versus the Exalted Demonettes while the Firepower does all the work. I'm not pretending the Plague Bearers did that damage, but they're doing what they needed to. Just don't die. Just stand there. Stand there till the ends of time. As even Chaos Knights plow into these guys, and still the Plague Bearers won't break. In the back line, some Skirmish Cav are getting pushed off by the Eternal Entourage and Flamer Fire. Flamers on each side, dealing tons of damage, and in come the Chaos Knights. This is another thing that is more difficult about this battle, is the players are going to make more mistakes, because you have twice the amount of stuff you're used to microing on the field. Things will get forgotten. But so far, both players actually managing it pretty well. Chaos Knights and the Whip Warriors beating up on the Shrieking Sky Rays and some Heartseekers, while Skirmish Cav provide a little bit of extra fire. And Azazel dives in onto the Flamers to try and stop them in place, but it looks like Bellicor is coming over to have a word with him. Bellicor is a better duelist. One Flamer has taken significant damage, and finally the Plague Bearers start to break, and this could be the straw that broke the camel's back for the Demons of Chaos. We all know how quickly that demonic instability can lead to game losses, and if you get into the backline and shut down all these Pink Horrors and Flamers and stuff, things are going to look a lot better for Slaanesh and their mortal units in the later part of the game. Chaos Knights taking insane damage versus the Eternal Entourage and Heartseekers, but they are trading okay. The Festering Stooges are nearby, which is a bit of a problem. Otherwise, these guys should charge over and get both those Heartseekers off the map. If Azazel can get away from Bellicor, which it looks like he has, Narcissism locks him in place. Azazel's safe and sound, and that's fine. This Cav fight went very heavily in the Forces of Demons of Chaos' favor, but, you know, their backline is currently dying, and Black Knight is keeping that balance of power, gold damage value lead at about 2,000. So he's stopped the bleeding, and now he just needs to hold on as his Chaos Warriors work through some Pink Horrors down here. We have a bunch of demonic units getting close to demonic instability crumbling in the center. Maybe if you can get a rear charge or something, you can shut them down. Bellicor is back. The Eternal Entourage charging into Pink Horrors only to be countercharged by the Heartseekers of the Demons of Chaos. And the Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh moving up on exposed Flamers. And you can see the Demons are really struggling to shut down all of the threats that are stopping their ranged units, and some things are starting to slip through the cracks. Pink Horror is getting shut down, but Slaanesh is very behind in the balance of power, and Lamsauce starting to open up a little bit more of a gold damage value lead. And I must agree with the balance of power. It is currently looking Demons of Chaos favored. Not quite over, but favored. This could be huge, though. Bringers of Beguilement getting a ticket to a Cav fight. Cavalry hate fighting on infantry, but especially infantry as elite as the Bringers of Beguilement diving in here. The Flamers are about to fade. Azazel still just trying to survive against Bellicor. Sweet Sorrow is popped for the Slaanesh army, giving them tons of speed and vigor. Ooh, no, that's a... I'm outdated. That's a tier 1 ability, trying to give Azazel speed and vigor to get the hell out of here. Something is getting cast. It's the Withering on the Eternal Entourage. Bellicor really wants these guys to start demonic instability crumbling and get out of here. And Azazel commits all in on this blob fight. But now he's surrounded by the Barons of the Bog. Bellicor is on his ass. Soul Grinder in the backline, still trying to finish off some of these Pink Horrors. Chaos Warriors are dealing with the Sour Guts. But we still have a full health Festering Stooge in the distance that could lumber their way into melee combat any day now. Bellicor is still beating up on Azazel, who does have Narcissism cast on himself because the Demons of Chaos get some random army abilities. So Slaanesh getting a bit of a taste of their own medicine. Now it has worn off. Hopefully Azazel can get out of here for his own sake. Chaos Knights and Bringers of Beguilement still fighting, and the Barons of the Bog are taking significant damage. Barons of the Bog are used to performing on a roster that has a lot of healing to support them. They are now on their own. And man, the Demons of Chaos are holding the center position forever. Look at how low these Exalted Bloodletters are, but they just aren't giving up quite yet. And that allows the Eternal Entourage to come in. If you had Phantasmagoria, it would be super situational, but if a Phantasmagoria right there would kill, like, legitimately 4, maybe even 5 units. Azazel lands again, but Be'lakor still stalking him around the battlefield. Gonna get a big landing attack. He misses it, and if Azazel can get back into the sky, he will be fine. Meanwhile, we did lose a Pink Horror. But we're gonna lose Azazel here soon. Demon Blade provides that discourage, but Azazel's going down hard. Throws out one last Lash of Slaanesh for a little bit more damage on these guys, but that is the end of Azazel and maybe the end of Slaanesh. As all of a sudden their leadership spikes down. Chaos Knight's thinking about leaving. These Bringers of Beguilement are getting pretty good damage value and still fighting it out. I don't know what can stop Be'lakor. If you take Be'lakor off the map right now, then it's a close game, but with Be'lakor standing right there, full HP, killing some fools, I think that is going to be GG. Be'lakor pulling it out. Festering Stooges did fine. Hellforged Host did fine. Heartseekers, they did okay. They did what they had to. Barons of Bog did okay. But the Bloodletters of Khorne really did good work here. Flamers, he did his best to keep them online. They got some good damage, but Black Knight was all over them. And then Pink Horrors did a lot of work. Plague Bears just lasted for a while. The other side, Azazel spent most of his game running from Be'lakor. The Marauder Horsemen had a tough time because there was no aerial units for them to really pull down. Soulgrinder did good disruption, though, and his Chaos Knights did a lot of good work in the backline. The Exalted Demonettes really put their heart and souls out there. Got through some demons, killed some stuff. Chaos Warriors also did fine, but, yeah. GG's. GG's. Lamb Sauce King already knows he's changing factions, but don't start just yet. I will tell you when to start, because you might want to think on it. As the funds are going the other way, we are down to 5,000 funds. It is a small game with unit caps on, and the players will have access to one single entity. Let's go to Ash Plains for a nice, simple, small map here. Ash Plains, Nehekara Desert. Funds are set. Unit caps on. Limit one single entity. After a giant battle, let's get ourselves a micro battle. But Lamb Sauce did opt to change, so now I need your votes. Ladies and gentlemen, what faction is Lamb Sauce playing on this map with these settings? Small, teeny tiny army. What are you going with? First to 3 gets it. Can anyone join Cash? Not currently. I just picked 2 people that I know that are super chill. Because with this style of me changing the rules all the time, people could get frustrated if they lose. Okay, we have a Skaven out there. I will look in a second. I forgot I need to give Lamb Sauce his points. We're at 1-1. Okay, Skaven. Jesus Christ, 4 Skaven. Oh my god. Okay, well, he got Skaven. I'm putting down the ... Black Knight also needs a new faction. Continue doing it after the ... for Black Knight. Skaven! You're gonna make him Skaven Mirror? Come on, you can't do the Skaven Mirror. What is this? What is this Skaven Mirror bullshit? Alright. It's a fucking Skaven Mirror. Oh my god. You guys have no chill. Some people are voting twice. Yes, but there's still plenty of Skaven. Like, we had Koops, Navas, Shiggy Diggy, and Cash all vote Skaven right away as soon as the votes came up. That's 4 different people. And then after the ... we had Shiggy Diggy, Mossy, Nightmare Soul Hunter, and Way vote Skaven. That's a lot of Skaven. That's a lot of Skaven. Alright. Since the mirror match is so RNG dependent on what faction you get, I I am not gonna watch their builds because it's pretty easy to just counter build somebody. So I'm just gonna sit on the map screen until they're ready. Unit caps are on. They are limited to one single entity, which means it is impossible to take Gorge, because you have to have a Lord. Which I will check in on that. Alright. But you have to have a Lord, so that's your single entity. With 5,000 funds, though, that is teeny tiny. Like, Ikit Claw on his Doom Wheel is 2,000 funds. You have 3,000 left. It's really small. What is funny is the Skaven are maybe a uniquely qualified faction to still build a viable army with only 5,000 funds because of Skaven slaves. You could have a front line of 8 infantry with, like, less than 1,000 gold. One single entity for the only army? No, it's just you're limited to one single entity, so it's not like... I have 5,000 funds. My 5,000 funds is spent on Festus the Leech Lord, the, Aecold, Hellbrass, an Exalted Hero, and then, like, the Severed Claw. My army is tiny and stupid. Like, I at least have the foresight to be like, hey, maybe don't Hero Hammer with this small amount of funds. Underway or cave map for this fight? I already set the map and they've already started putting their things. I didn't know it would be Skaven versus Skaven, or I might have, but, like, the players are under enough restrictions. I'm going to try and keep it simple. We're just kind of test running this. If people like it, like if the audience likes it and the players weren't like, this was a horrible experience, then we'll probably do it again. But this is just a trial run. We're just going to see, we're seeing how it goes, so I'm trying to, like, not fuck it up myself, you know what I mean? Like, oh, it would have been a fun concept, but you did this, this, and this that were dog shit, so people ended up hating it. Alright, since we do have the one single entity limit, I am going to put up a blocker briefly and just, like, take a look at the builds and make sure that both players remember that part. That's pretty funny. Dude, I am loving these armies right now with this teeny tiny amount of funds. Oh, they have to just make these teeny tiny little armies. Teeny tiny. Teeny tiny little armies. Look at them, you can fit them in your pocket. Oh, God. Well, at least I'm having fun. Alright. Lamb Sauce is set. He's readied up. I'm just watching Black Knight's army get built so that it doesn't forget about the multiple single entities, but he's ready to go, and we're good. We have two very different armies, and I'm here for it. We have Queek Headtaker, no caster, just Queek, with Doom Flayers and Skaven Slaves for a bit of a rush build, counting on this being a very short game where you won't have time to get Winds of Magic. On the other side, we have Ikit Claw, some Molder units, some Slingers, and some Slaves, a little more balanced here. If y'all do it again, I'd like to play in it. Alright, dude. Cash, do I know you on Discord? You don't have to DDoS yourself if you don't want to, but do I know you on Discord? Have we ever talked? Because I don't remember a Cash from, like, oh yeah, this is just Cash from Discord. I've talked to him all the time. Like, I know who some of those people are in my chat. How about we make them play 100% mirror at some point where they both bring the same army Olaf the Moose? Someone in chat had proposed doing a tournament for that, and I proposed it to my mod chat, and my mod chat brought up a lot of good points about why that wouldn't be a good idea. for a whole tournament. Now, maybe for like one game like this, that could be a good idea. But I just wanted to mention it because I forget if it was you or someone else in chat brought up doing a whole tournament of everyone has the exact same build, and you just see who's better at piloting it. So the build example would be like, one of the ones I proposed was a high elf build, and your lord is a caster with Plague of Rust and Searing Doom on an eagle. So you have a flying single entity that's decent at melee combat, you have a damage spell, and you have a debuff spell that high elves frequently use. And then your hero, you have a Lore Master of Hoeth with only Earthblood. So it's like, how do you use healing? Do you debuffs? Do you use damage spells? What are you using, right? And then you had the Dragon Princes, but there's no regrowth. It's just Earthblood for the Dragon Princes. A Silver Helm, 3 Illyrian Reaver Archers, a Shadow Warrior, a Bolt Thrower. I think it was 2 Rangers, 2 Spearmen, and a White Lion of Krace. And that might have been it. I think you run out of money at that point. But that was roughly the army. So it's like, okay, you have heavy cav, you have light cav with skirmish, you have skirmish foot troops, you have artillery, and you have a front line. How are you using this army? So, but people were like a little lukewarm on it. It was originally his idea. I see. It's Johnny Cash 141. All right, so you and I haven't talked extensively. Speaking of talking extensively, fucking me, let's get on with the game, folks. We have the Dwarf Thing Menace, Doomflayer with Fear, and then Doom Flayers. Queek Headtaker on foot with Trophy Heads, Standard Ground, and Verminous Valor, and then a whole bunch of Skaven Slaves. On the other side, Ick Claw with Flensing Ruin and more power. That is it. And we have 2 Wolf Rats, the Pit Fighters of Hell's Deep Rat Ogres, 2 Skaven Slave Slingers, and a whole bunch of Skaven Slaves on the front line. Ick Claw goes deep, and with the dog rear charge, and the Skaven Slaves are already out of here. The Doomflayer is already trying to deal with Ick Claw, and his melee stats are already so low because he's just a caster. If Queek ever throws Trophy Heads on him, honestly, even the Doomflayers could get some decent damage on him. Trophy Heads would lower him to like 12 melee defense, 0 melee attack. The Rat Ogres are in, and the Dwarf Thing Menace is moving in. Now, wherever the Rat Ogres are, as long as the Doomflayers avoid the Rat Ogres, they'll be okay. Oh god, they're going straight for the Rat Ogres! Oh god! Dwarf Thing Menace fighting some Skaven Slaves. Dog's gonna jump on him too. These guys with 114 in armor, and their own armor sundering, those Wolf Rats are not gonna have a good time. Even Skaven Slaves could get through them with 0 armor on their side. First, Overcasted Flensing Ruin is down, though Queek has thrown out Stand Your Ground and Vermer's Valor to give himself a ton of leadership as he pushes through the enemy Skaven Slaves. But these Wolf Rats of Black Knight are doing so much work. The Pit Fighters of Hell's Deep easily protect Icket from the forces of the Doomflayers. Trophy Heads does lower his melee defense to literally 0. We'll see if that comes into play later. Dogs and Slaves are routed off, and now the Slingers are running for their lives as the Dwarf Thing Menace is going to run them down. And Flensing Ruin has worn off on Queek. Oh, it's still going over here. It wasn't attached to Queek. It was just on the ground. Okay. Queek gets to fight Icket, and he gets punted away next to his terror-outing Skaven Slaves. Meanwhile, the other Doomflayers have come back, and they're running through Skaven Slaves as the Pit Fighters try and follow them. Dwarf Thing Menace has to back out. It wants nothing to do with the Pit Fighters, and they are going to go somewhere else as Queek continues to try and find a fight with Icket Claw. Though Icket Claw causes terror, and Queek might just rout because of it. He has 31 leadership for now. For now, he's still fighting. He takes a big shot from Icket. 1 leadership for Queek, and that means a terror out's coming in. There he goes. Queek's running for Icket. And of the gold damage value, it might seem really low. That's because it is really low, but do remember, you only have 5,000 funds, so 1,300 funds already dead on the side of Lamb Sauce King. But in comes the Dwarf Thing Menace. Now, the Dwarf Thing Menace could reduce Icket Claw's armor. There it is, armor sundering. And Queek is back, pops Verminous Valor for the extra leadership, and he needs to try and snipe out Icket now. The Pit Fighters are coming here, so are the Dogs, and they're all rallying to Icket's aid, but this is Queek's last chance to really make an impact on this game, is to get good damage on Icket and force everybody else to leave. Skaven Slaves are coming in. The Dwarf Thing Menace is still here. Another Flensing Ruin is out from Icket, though. Standard Ground is popped to keep these guys in the fight, but it is too late to keep the Skaven Slaves in it. That Flensing Ruin will probably send us to Game 4. As it is doing big damage, and Icket's even beating up on Queek, regardless of the Flensing Ruin. Now, Queek's getting some decent shots in here, but yeah, it's a rough one. Skaven Slave Spears chasing off Skaven Slave Slingers, keeping them out of the fight, but Queek is quite low. Still have 14 seconds left in the Funzing Ruin Overcast as it is whittling down Queek. He stopped taking damage for a little bit, which was weird. He has not taken a lot of damage from the ticks of this, but there it goes. Army loss is starting to hit for the Blue Skaven. And Lamb Sauce memeing far too close to the sun as his Doomflayers and Queek do negative damage. Queek just has no caster. True, because you're limited to one single entity. So if you take Queek, you don't have a caster. Queek being worst duelist than Tzeentch. It is true. Queek is bad. Ica Claw, 2,000 value. Well, 1,900, but almost 2,000 value. In a game with only 5,000 value means he deleted a lot of the enemy army. Skaven Slip Slingers were annoying. Skaven Slaves were annoying, but it was mostly the efforts of Ica Claw and the Molder monsters just routing off a ton of Skaven. GG. Let's give Black Knight his point. Black Knight goes up to 2-1. If he wins the next game, the best of 5 is over. I just realized that the lamp is not facing me in any capacity whatsoever. All right, let's go with Pillar of Bone. Pillar of Bone's a good map. It's actually quickly becoming my favorite map as a caster because it's both small but also has really good Vanguard deployment if you want that and stuff, so it's pretty good. Let's do, for funds, let us do 1,800. Unit caps off. It's not as crazy as round 2, but unit caps are off again, so we'll see what people use their funds for. Lamb Sauce is changing factions. So you know what to do. Spam out your factions that you want him to play. So Lamb Sauce does need a new faction. We have one for Nurgle, Warriors of Chaos, Chaos Dwarves, Lizardmen, Khorne, Norska. So far, no repeats. Lizardmen, 13 Shredders. Vampire Counts, still no repeats. Vampire Coast, still no repeats. Everybody's going for different factions. What? Who will be the first to even get 2 votes, much less 3? Coast, we have 2 for Coast. 2 for Norska. Lizardmen, we have 3 for Coast! That is 3 for Coast. Stop the count! Stop the count! All right, Black Knight needs 1 too. After the ... you know what to do. After the ... you're voting for Black Knight. Go, go, go. All right, Norska is back on the board for Fat Kid. Empire, Norska. Norska has 2. Do I see 3? Do I see 3 for Norska? I see 2 for Empire, 2 for Norska. 2 for Empire, 2 for Norska. Black Knight is also a very good Empire player, so I would be curious about that. We have a Warriors of Chaos in the mix. 2 for Empire, 2 for Norska, 1 for Warriors of Chaos. Go, 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 go. Need a 3 somewhere. Lizardmen, 13 Shredders. That is 1 for Lizardmen. Norska again, and Khorne. Khorne counts. Norska, because I'm paying you money. I know we already got to 3 votes for Norska, but I'm going to pretend that I'm only going for the money. $15 from Strat Game. Thank you so much, sir. So, we do have increased funds. Unit caps are off. Completely off. Right? You could go with 10 single entities. You could go with fucking a Lord and 3 caster heroes for no reason. You could do that. You could get 10 Marauder champions. You could get 15 Marauders and like 5 Skin Wolves. Doesn't matter. Complete chaos. Unit caps are off. Black Knight needs 1 more win to secure the W. Lamb Sauce on the coast, fighting from the back foot. With the bold strategy of the Queek Head Taker, no caster. Lamb Sauce trying his heart out here. Clearly going meta. Going for Citizens United on that shit. Campaign units? I did say unit caps are off. It's true. Unit caps are off. That's all I have to say on the issue. Unit caps are off. Getting some Sartosa free company in here. Luther Harkon, a caster, and some depth guard. What's Norska cooking? What's Norska cooking? Their extended roster, they could get that fucking Iceforged Legion out here. The Great Mawherd. The Great Mawherd, unfortunately, still sucks. But we'll see. They're cooking with gas. The Coast just going for the boys. The boys build. We have Luther, a shit ton of elite infantry, and then the Sartosa Free Company. They're fucking rolling. They're like, you know what, Norska? Melee fight me. Punk ass, you won't. Thoughts on Thrones of Decay getting delayed? Is it confirmed anywhere that it's getting delayed? Because on my end, I've heard absolutely nothing about that. So as far as I know, it's on time. They could bring the worst hero in the game. Is it, it's not Azric, is it? Is it Kihar? Yeah, Kihar has 4,900 HP. And he's on a dragon, isn't he? He's a dragon lord with only 4,900 HP. That sucks. No, what are your thoughts on it regardless? I don't think they're going to delay it. So here's the thing, is I want them to delay it. And I know that sounds stupid, and I won't go into the full thing again, because I did at the end of... If you want my full thoughts, go to the end of my last stream, the one from today. We talk about it for legitimately like 40 minutes. So I'm not going to do the 40-minute version. But the short version is I really want CA to slow down and fix what they release, rather than release garbage. And things are looking up. Their last few patches have been more in touch than they were like last year. Last year they had some patches that were fucking wild. And I know you're going to point to Lizardman and Kislev getting buffs. I know. Again, if you want the full version, you have to watch that thing. But, like, look at the units they're releasing. Shadows of Change brought a giant anti-large fast Mortis engine and another giant anti-large fast Mortis engine. That was not what the game needed. That was a dumb thing to do. And then Shadows of Change 2.0 gave a faction that had no light cavalry some light cavalry. It gave a faction that had no halberds some halberds. Like, right? They started doing things that were healthier for the game. But the problem is that CA has a cycle of releasing broken shit and then a patch that fixes it. And then release more broken shit and then a patch that fixes it. And then more broken shit and a patch that fixes it. Like, on and on and on. It's been forever. That's always been the way it's been. And Shadows of Change 2.0 released a bunch of broken shit. Some of it's very fun. Some of it's very cool. Some of it I'm happy to have in the game. But it needs nerfing, right? It needs nerfing. It needs the balance. That's always followed. They've always come back and balanced it. And the way things are going, it's unless they delay Thrones of Decay, which I'm hoping they do, we're not going to get a balanced patch. So you're going to have, like, the Tsarina Chariot literally still being broken. The Frostworm being completely fucking useless. Kislev being insanely overpowered. Lizardman being insanely overpowered. Healing being insanely overpowered. You're going to still have all that going into Thrones of Decay, where CA being CA, they're probably going to release a bunch more broken shit. And that's, like, personally not what I want. I like a manageable amount of broken shit. Things that you can fall back on and, like, okay, well, if we avoid these, like, 3 things, we're good. But if everything's broken, then it's like this... Fuck, this isn't much of a strategy game anymore. It's just a weird, abusive circle jerk. So, I don't know. I hope they at least delay it until we get a fixed patch for Shadows of Change 2.0. Then fuck it, Thrones of Decay can come out. But I haven't heard that. And I've been talking to CA a bit about some balance stuff on the back end, and they haven't told me anything about, like... Okay, well, they have told me things, so now I have to be careful. They haven't told me anything like, oh, yeah, we can work on that right now because Thrones of Decay is delayed. Like, that's never come out. So I'm not getting the impression that Thrones is getting delayed. And the content creator program's gone, which is how I used to get my real information, because they'd tell us things like, hey, you're going to have early access from blank to blank, so start planning some content, right? The content creator program's gone. So my news source is talking to them one-on-one, but we don't usually talk about release stuff. We talk about balance things. And their public statements, which their public statements haven't said they're delaying it, and they've usually been pretty good about telling you they're delaying things, right? They go radio silent on a bunch of other dumb shit, but they're usually pretty good about saying we're delaying this. So much so that people have literally started calling Thrones of Decay Thrones of Delay because they've delayed it so many times. So I think it's coming out on time. But I really think the game needs like a solid good patch before that happens, because they have a bunch of stuff from 2.0 to still fix. So that's where I'm at. The one thing I can spoil from my conversations with CA is I am very positive on the future. I am worried it'll be too late. Right? Because there's certain bridges we've burned with how bad the Game 3 launch was, which we're far from launch. The game's good now. It could be better, but it's good. I'm worried we already lost those people and we're not going to get them back. But for the people still playing the game, I am very excited for the near future. That's really all I can say about it. Otherwise, I'll get in a lot of trouble. I haven't signed an NDA or anything because the content creator program doesn't exist, but if I go like leaking CA DMs, then one, that's kind of a fucked up thing for me to do, and two, they'll probably stop talking to me. So. There's no way they break that trend. They probably nerf the broken stuff from Shadows Change and then release broken shit for Neural Empire and Dwarves. Yeah. I'm just wondering when this patch is going to come out. If it's going to come out. Because we're getting really close to Thrones of Decay. So either they need to delay Thrones of Decay or we're not getting a fixing patch. Volnir 19 AI Gorbel easily inventing the internet. Takes a long time. Okay, for the builds, they were switched around a lot in the build screen, so let's see what we ended up with. We have a bunch of Sartosa Militia with gold and silver chevrons for Lamb Sauce and Vampire Coast. It looks like they're going to be doing a flanking maneuver. We also have a whole bunch of Depth Guard, 3 Axe variant, 2 Halberds, one of which is the Bloody Reaver Depth Guard. Then we have the Lamprey's Revenge, Animated Hulks for some mass, the Black Spot, Luther Harkon up in the sky, just on his mount. He didn't bring any abilities, but he's just on his mount. And then a Vampire Fleet Captain of Vampires with the Summon and Invocation of Heck. I know why Lamb Sauce is taking Luther, but that is a subject of a video that'll be coming out, I believe, next week, so I don't want to spoil the fun for that, but I have seen his Luther before, and I know why he's taking him. Well, I suppose it doesn't really spoil how that whole game goes, but he did get buffed. He gets silence on his missile strength. So if you can silence the caster of the enemy team, then all of a sudden Burning Head doesn't kill your whole front line. They could just fix it when the DLC comes out. Maybe, but I don't have faith in the DLC team. The DLC team seems to be wide-eyed, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, naive people who release really cool concepts, and then the balance team have to come through and fix it. Yeah. We'll see, Yatum. We'll see. I'm just like, if it happens, that's great. I'm not counting on it, is all I'm saying. Because the DLC team, like I said, seemed to be more like, bro, wouldn't this be sick? And bro, wouldn't this be sick? And all these things. And it's like, yeah, bro, that'd be sick, but like, how are you going to balance it? For Norska, since I got distracted, we have the Maws of Savagery, the Ice-Forged Legion, the Cold Voider, a whole bunch of Marauder Berserkers, a front line of Marauders, and then 3 Norscan Ice Trolls, the Soul Crusher, Throg, and a Burning Head Caster. The Iceforged Legion immediately ditch their mounts and run forward to try and save themselves from the volleys coming in here of the Sartosan Free Company. And the Maws of Savagery also took a lot of damage, but you do now have mortal units. These are not zombies of any kind. They're mortal units that can get pushed right off the map. But the coast is trying to close the noose before that fully happens. So can Norska win the backline fight and turn back around to the front line? although they don't have the time. The gold chevrons keeping these guys leadership high enough for now that they aren't immediately routing, and the Marauders are back here. Burning Head goes through some of the Sartosan lads. Burnt leadership debuffs. Again, it is all about routing them. They're so close to the white line that if you route them once, they'll just go straight off. It's not a big deal. Looks like the Marauders are putting up a rear guard. They're going to try and hold the depth guard for as long as they can, though this is a tough start for Norska. Already the balance of power is significantly against Norska. The Iceforge Legion are back online, falling back now, getting their mounts away from the front line. And there we go. Now we get some of the breaks from the Sartosa militia. Berserkers are beating up on them, and the Soul Crusher is helping out with its terror, getting these guys off the map. We have some terror routes from the Cold Voider on the other side, but is it in time that Norska can pivot back towards the front line and hold them off? Iceforge Legion still trying to get some distance. Throg, currently monitoring the situation, is now starting to move in. Marauder Berserkers finishing off some of the Sartosa militia, but then they're beset by animated hulks. Their leadership's getting low. They pop their rampage for now, but that'll only keep them in the fight for so long. Iceforge Legion are thoroughly under attack by the animated hulks, but Throg and the other trolls are here. Cold Voider's also thinking about coming home. And Skinwolves are trying to get these Sartosa militia to actually route, because the terror route's about to wear off, so they should rally before they hit the white line. Soul Crusher probably needs to come back to the main line here. I know he's just trying to route some stuff off, but we do need him to kill some of these depth guard. Marauders shattering. Norscan Ice Trolls thinking about routing as some Sartosa militia even keep firing in. The Cold Voider's actually trying to take a fight with the Luther Harkon. I wonder, does it beat him 56-51 versus 44-42? It'll do some good damage. Okay, alright, I see you. I see you up there. Burning Headcaster's still alive. And he is not silenced for now, so he could use a Burning Head while Luther's distracted with the Frostworm. The Iceforge Legion is in, shooting at the Zombie Pirate Gunnery Mob Summon, trying to take it down, while Throg's leadership is dipping mighty low. He does have the Wintertooth Crown he can use to save himself with some Unbreakable, and another Pistol Summon is out, but he continues to get shot, and his leadership tanks. He's not able to use the Crown of Command in time, or the Wintertooth Crown, or whatever. The Unbreakable one. The Unbreakable goes whoosh. Little Burning Head took some damage off the depth guard as they continue to fight Berserkers with animated hulks backing them up, but this is a coast shellacking. The depth guard rush was brutal, and the Iceforge Legion just didn't get a lot done, unfortunately for them. They have 7 value right now. The Cold Voider does take out some of the pistol summons, but they are just summons. Marauders trying to kill the Black Spot, and they probably will. I think the only shot Norska has in this at all is if Throg rallies somehow, some way, and can get back to the fight. Because with his regen, the Maws of Savagery regen, maybe they can be okay. But there it is. The caster's starting to get silenced. So he's having a hard time really participating in the fight, as these Sartosa Militia and Luther are just pressuring him off the map and setting him on cooldown constantly. Cold Voider taking a lot of damage from the animated hulks. Bounce power is getting worse and worse, and there goes Throg. That is probably the death knell for Norska, and we are going to go to Game 5. I just don't see how they can grind with the undead at this point. Soul Crusher's very healthy, but its leadership's failing. Cold Voider, big breath attack on the Black Spot. And then he dives in. These are hybrid halberd guys, and his leadership's already not doing too good on the Cold Voider since Throg left. So he'll probably get poked in the butt a few times by these halberds and then get going. Shaman of the Burning Heads does rally next to the edge of the map with 1 leadership. That'll help Norska a little bit of the amount of power, but again, I just think it is a lost cause at this point. Maws of Savagery and the Soul Crusher are trying to fight back. They do clear out a Depth Guard. How are the Depth Guard doing overall? Polearm's half HP. Depth Guard regular full HP. Depth Guard regular full HP. Oof. The Iceforge Legion get hunted down over here. Little Unbreakable Chaos Lords that could. GG's. Game 5! Because we're going the distance. We're looking for speed. We're going the distance. Yada, yada, yada. With Tigermen confirmed, do you think we'll get in, and what are your hopes for them? Are Tigermen confirmed? Where was that? I'm not doubting you. This is the first time I'm hearing that. Where was this? This is my first hearing of this. The Tower of Hoeth. There it is. Tower of Hoeth. Lamb Sauce needs a new faction. Lamb Sauce does need a new faction. As soon as you guys hear this, due to the delay, please start your votes. I'm just messaging both players. The last game is normal. Default funds, unit caps on, Tower of Hoeth. No gimmick, just who wins. Black Knight needs something new. So after we keep voting, after we get the 3 vote, we will switch. So there's 3 for Nurgle. After the ... is for Black Knight. I will inform Lamb Sauce that he is Nurgle. We have Corn started up by Wicked D. Remember, after the ... you are doing Black Knight, and we do not roll over votes. That is too complicated. Corn, Corn, Corn. We have a whole bunch of Corn. All right, it is Corn versus Nurgle in a straight-up normal brawl. Dude, poor fucking Knighthood. He shows up, he's like, oh, Black Knight's a guy. He plays a lot of High Elves. I like High Elves. Maybe I'll get to see Black Knight play High Elves. And chat's like, no, fuck you. William Kratos here with the Nurgle. So we have Nurgle Corn, otherwise a standard game. Normal funds, unit caps, good map. Boom. Okay, so Yatam answered my question that got buried in chat because I'm an idiot. There was an IMD Warhammer 3 link for motion capture actress for Tigerman. That's kind of cool. That's cool. Do I think we'll get Ind? No. Honestly, I wonder if they'll just lump that in with Cathay. Though, why? Why would they be doing the motion capture for that now? Because Cathay could not possibly be the next DLC after Thrones of Decay, right? They have the motion capture done by now for Thrones of Decay. If they don't, they've supremely fucked up. They've just supremely fucked up, if that's true. So, assuming that this is not for this DLC, it's the next one, which is either Slaanesh or Khorne, but then Slaanesh, Khorne, and who? I don't think we're getting a new faction yet. I don't think the next DLC after Thrones of Decay is Ind. Because Khorne and Slaanesh are desperately in need of DLCs, and it's very obvious that CA is currently taking the free money, filling out the factions that they didn't do correctly the first time. Like, the Game 3 factions are super bare bones, and then they already sold you a DLC. I'm not saying it's correct, I'm saying this is what happened. They had super bare bones, unfinished rosters, and they sold you a DLC, the Champions of Chaos, to finish those rosters. So now we're getting the quote-unquote first DLCs. So Tzeentch just got his first DLC. I don't count Champions of Chaos. That after Champions of Chaos, you finally had a starter roster, right? So we had the Kids Live in Cathay, got their first DLC. Tzeentch got their first DLC. And now this one's going to give Nurgle their first DLC. Khorne and Slaanesh really need a DLC, so I can't imagine the next one's going to be like, Ind! Fuck those other guys. Like, it has to be at least Khorne or Slaanesh, if not both. I could see them just like going, okay, Khorne, Slaanesh. Ogres is a DLC faction, so they might not dip back into that pool just yet. But I could see them being like Khorne, Slaanesh, Vampire Counts. I could also see maybe Khorne, Slaanesh, Norska. Because Norska's in desperate need of a rework, and Bretonnia just got one, so Norska could be the next in the block. But I don't know. I don't know where Ind fits into that. But there's no way they get their own faction. Maybe Slaanesh gets some Tiger Men for some reason. Like, they make up some plot reason to do it. That'd be weird. Slaanesh, Khorne, and Ogres. See, if you did... Blake's Take's got a good point. I suspect they won't do Ogres, because Ogres are a DLC faction, but, like, if they do, the Tiger Men of Ind could pretty easily be lumped into the Ogre Kingdoms roster. Like, just throw them in there and make up some bullshit reason for why. Rule, domination mode. William, I actually don't hate that. It's too late for it in this one because I already did the thing, but actually, I don't hate that. Somebody suggested Nurgle getting Siege Giants, Nurgle Ogres, Plague Ogres, which would be usable with Chaos Dwarfs, Ogre Kingdoms, and Beastmen, respectively. That could be cool. I think more rosters getting, like, Ogre-type units is fine because they're mercenaries. We're getting some Plague Drones of Nurgle, Soul Grinder, and a Demon Prince versus Khorne's Scarbrand, and the rest of the roster is still in flux. They do the mocap in batches. That's fair, Volnir. I don't see Cathay being like the next one either, though. So maybe Ind is actually the next faction. I could also see them bunching Nippon and Ind together and making up some, like, coalescent faction name, like the Warriors of Chaos or the Demons of Chaos. Coalesce a bunch of factions. So I could see them doing something like that, like Kings of the Sea is the faction, and then you could pick one legendary Lord of Nippon, one legendary Lord of Ind. Those are their starting locations, but both sides share a roster. I could see them doing that, is probably what I would guess they do, because I don't think Ind has enough to be a full-fledged faction, unless they go the Vampire Coast route and just, like, make up a whole faction from cloth, which would be lit, but I don't think that's going to happen. I'm happy to be surprised. I'm not saying it's impossible. I just wouldn't bet on it happening. Warriors of the East or something? Yeah. Looks like Khorne is set. Looks like Nurgle's set. This is the final game. Sorry, just messaging somebody. Probably a lot of hissing. Slaanesh, Khorne, Norska, that'd be a good one. And roster, and a couple lines of lore. Alright, I'll finish messaging this person after, and I'm gonna focus. Might come as a Dogs of War mercenary unit. That's true. Maybe they just do one. I'm still kind of leaning on the Nippon and Ind stuff. One, because they can usually charge more for a new faction DLC. Two, it would fill out some holes on the campaign map. I found it really weird. I was playing Techless the other month. 2 months ago? Don't know. I was playing Techless, and I came up from the south. I conquered all of Antarctica, and then I was fighting up through Nagashazar, and I sent some reinforcements by boat. And I thought it was really strange. I hit this part of the map where you couldn't land, but it was a long section of the map, and it's roughly where Ind would be. And they need to fill that out, because sailing around that area of the map is such a pain in the dick, but there's nothing there, so they can't let you just land, because they have nothing to put there. But yeah, I bet they're going to do something with that part of the map. Because they just have to. It's such a pain in the ass to sail around there. You want them to just name them the Eastmen, just to make my life miserable. Yes, Dog Ruler, yes. Okay, last game of the day. Do you think a meme build with the Temple of Luminarch, Fire Wizard, Flaming Sword, and generic Huntsman General with the Oil Flask try and one-shot something? It would be so funny. It'd be fine for, like, a gimmick. I feel like you'd lose the game, but the combo itself would work. But it's just so much gold into a Lord Snipe that then the rest of your army probably gets rolled. Yeah. For the game in front of us, though, enough speculation about fun things of the future. We must focus on the mildly fun things of the now. For Khorne and Black Knight, we have 2 Exalted Bloodletters. Oh, I forgot to update the score. No, not the score! I'm so stupid! Chat, why do you let me be this dumb and foolish? It is 2-2. This is the final game. All tied up. All right. 4 Marauders of Khorne for frontline, 2 Exalted Bloodletters, then 2 Minotaurs, both great weapons. Skarbrand with his AoE Rampage. Yes. Yes, sir. And then 2 Marauder Horsemen throwing axes, 2 Fleshhounds of Khorne. You know, side 4 Nurgle, 4 Skirmish Cav, Marauder Horsemen of Nurgle both throwing axes, a single Soul Grinder, Demon Prince of Nurgle in the sky with Fate of Buna and Spirit Leech and Stream of Corruption, 2 Plague Drones of Nurgle, 1 Chaos Knight, and 4 Marauders. Isn't there a sea lane around there somewhere to make it a bit more bearable? Yeah, I think I sailed past it. So I was trying to reinforce my forces near the Blue Rose vampire counts, so Kemmler and them. Not Kemmler, Gorst. I would have liked to have sacked my way north, though, but there was nothing there, so I was just sailing along the coastline. Skarbrand's moving up, and if he can get a key rampage on a target like this Demon Prince right now, oh, he could be so overextended if he gets rampaged right now in front of Skarbrand and these Minotaurs. Does Skarbrand do it? I know he has to worry about these Marauder Horsemen hitting him in the back, but this could be huge if the Minos just completely charge this Demon Prince who's stuck on the ground, and we have Plague Drones of Nurgle coming in. I think you have to pop that rampage and charge in Black Knight. Fucking do it. What are the rules for the event? We're near the end of the stream, so it's weird to describe it now. We're in the middle of the game. Basically, the rules change every single battle, and the players have just been rolling with it. There is the big rampage. Marauders of Nurgle and Plague Drones of Nurgle are sucked in to fight on top of Marauders, on top of Bloodletters, on top of Minotaurs of Khorne, and Skarbrand is going to get his price in blood out of the Demon Prince of Nurgle, who is now missing a third of his health and has finally run out of rampage. Can he get out of here? Skarbrand continues to kick his ass. In the background, Fleshhounds of Khorne are trying to chase down some of the Marauder Horsemen, and Chaos Knights, plus the Soul Grinder being used to peel. But the big fight is right here. We're losing some Plague Drones, and we're losing the Demon Prince. Skarbrand has stopped taking damage. Now that the Skirmish Cav are pushed away, Skarbrand is more than happy to take this fight. He's a much better combatant. On this side, though, Nurgle does Fate of Buna, the Marauder Horsemen of Khorne. They want to stop those flaming axes from coming in and setting them all on fire so they can't heal or anything. Stream of Corruption goes down some of the Marauders of Khorne. And it looks like the Demon Prince is just chucking out spells wherever he can to try and use his Winds of Magic. I think he knows he's in dire straits. Both sides taking very equivalent gold damage value, though. It's not like Skarbrand's gotten out of this scot-free. He's half HP. Fleshhounds of Khorne are already starting to demonic instability crumble, and Nurgle still has a lot of Skirmish Cav. They still have healthy Chaos Knights, and they still have a full health Soul Grinder. So even though their Lord got sniped, which is brutal, I'm not trying to sugarcoat it, it's not the entire game. And the Demon Prince actually gets back into the sky, barely getting his leadership back while he was demonic instability crumbling, but it is at the cost of both of these Plague Drones, and even Marauder Horsemen charging forward. I thought I saw the Chaos Knights of Nurgle in here. They are in there. Their flag's just way over here. Gotcha, gotcha. So it's a lot of damage that Nurgle is taking for this, but they kept their Lord safe, and that's pretty huge. The Plague Drones continue to fight it out. They're getting low on leadership, might start demonic instability crumbling soon, but Skarbrand also isn't feeling too great as all these throwing axes keep hitting him in the face. Aaron Gate, great stream. Thanks, man. Thanks. We're trying. We try to put out the diversity content for y'all. Marauder Horseman and Nurgle falling back. The healthy Fleshhound that has been kept safe up until this point has finally pulled up to harass them a little bit. Spirit Leech onto Scarbrand, and a big Rampage in, just as the Chaos Knights are terror-outing though, so they will manage to escape. And the Plague Drones, I guess you're stopping them from opting out, but Scarbrand's fallen back from the Skirmish Cav, so his Rampage isn't actually hitting anybody right now. Try the Immortal Empire's Expanded mod, adds in Progression to Pawn, etc. as traversable territory and settlements. I might have to, though I am usually a boomer and refuse to accept mods. Mods are the devil's plaything. No, not really. I also just don't have like a ton of time to just fuck around and play, so then I usually just play vanilla because I'm lazy. So Scarbrand is still in it. He also is fueled by Rage, which is actually popped right now, so he has insanely high weapon strength for himself. Demon Prince of Nurgle has taken some damage from the Fleshhounds, though he did finish them off. Khorne's pulling ahead on the balance of power, though, as they've dominated the front line. Nurgle's Marauders are going to have to rally and come back, but even then, they're just at such a low HP point that I don't really think that they're going to matter. One thing I do worry about is how badly Khorne's getting pulled apart. Like, we have a whole bunch of different fights going on, which means this Demon Prince of Nurgle and Nurgle's cavalry can just run around and really punish anybody caught out of position. The Chaos Knights, if they rally the Skirmish Cav with the Demon Prince, can get a couple good picks here and there. But it's not all for nothing. Like, these Minos are catching the Soul Grinder out. The Soul Grinder's full health, a lot of ammunition, which is a big amount of balance of power here. And Nurgle is currently up on damage value, which is weird. This is actually very weird. He's up on damage value, and he's the healing faction, because he has the tier 2 army ability for healing. Khorne has no healing, and is up on the balance of power, despite being down on damage value. Marauder Horseman of Nurgle trying to chase down the Marauder Horseman of Khorne. Curse the Slug, slowing down the Minos to give Soul Grinder a bit of range, but it didn't quite affect this final Minotaur. So that guy will be catching up soon. Oof, nasty throwing axe volley. Can the Demon Prince of Nurgle get some Spirit Leeches onto Scarbrand and maybe finish him off somehow, and then rely on the leadership spike against Khorne to take them out? We still have a very healthy Exalted Bloodletter that can be effectively kited. I mean, Skirmish Cav cycle charging is a hell of a drug. Scarbrand gets a good shot on these Marauder Horsemen. Does he have his Rampage up that he can suck them back into melee combat? It doesn't look like it, or he's waiting on it. Oh, that was a huge volley! Did you see that in the corner of your screen? Soul Grinder got a big shot onto these 4 clumped up units. Did more damage to the Skirmish Cav than to the Minotaurs, but it was still a good volley. We take those. Meanwhile, in the trees, Chaos Knights were fighting Marauders for a bit. And Scarbrand's still fighting it out. Spirit Leech looks like it did about 600 HP to him, so it would take probably 3 more to get him in danger of actually just dying flat out. And Minos take a charge against the Marauder Horsemen and Nurgle, who are now out of ammunition. With Scarbrand coming up from behind, that is going to be a dead Marauder Horseman. Oof. Big axe throw from him takes them out. And the Marauder Horsemen of Khorne will rally after their spooky, scary run-in with the Soul Grinder. They'll be fine, they'll come back. Yeah, they're back. Cool. And the Minos are once again after the Soul Grinder of Nurgle. 75 speed versus their 56. So after the charge, it's probably going to kite yet again. Gets a really big volley once more onto the Marauder Horsemen of Khorne. And then they shatter. Damn. Bloodletter's getting caught out by the Chaos Knights and the Demon Prince. Looks like they're going to Demonic Stability crumble away. The full health Exalted Bloodletters and a healthy Marauder are kind of trying to come back out of the woods. Scarbrand is rallied with a bunch of regular Marauders. And the Demon Prince is coming in for another Spirit Leech. As, Minotaurs crush another Marauder Horseman of Nurgle. But he needs to be careful. If he ever gets too close, Scarbrand can just Rampage him to the ground. And then that is going to be the death of that Demon Prince. Soul Grinder continues to fire, shatters off another Marauder Horseman, taking out the mobility of Khorne. And in the trees, Marauders fighting with Chaos Knights and stuff. Chaos Knights really don't want to fight in the trees like that, so that's not going great for them. And Minos continue to chase the Soul Grinder, who is kiting. Marauder Horseman and Nurgle, the only ones with ammunition. We have 1 and we have 3. Balance of power is evening up, and I wonder if we'll have a late-game Fecundity. If it's going to happen, it would happen right now, on top of 4 expensive units, Fecundity, the Demon Prince right now. But it doesn't look like he has it just yet. Scarbrand charges after the Skirmish Cav, who are trying to opt out. Again, I don't think he wants to burn his Rampage on such a low unit that's also going to just rout any second now. So even if he Rampages it, if it routs, it just runs away, and then he wastes it. Minotaurs take a big old charge from the skirmish cav as they fall back. Where did all of Nurgle's healing go? He didn't bring any healing on his caster, so he's relying entirely on the tier 2 army ability for that healing. Meanwhile, in the background, the full health Exalted Bloodletter finally found some prey in the Marauders of Nurgle, and they are very happy to be taking this fight. So they're chasing these guys down, trying to get some kills so that Khorne can get more army abilities on the board. Minos are starting to break those. Marauder Horsemen opt in, but every time the Marauder Horsemen opt in, they take such a shellacking in damage that they're going to regret it. Scarbrand's getting danger low. A Curse of the Slug slows him down, and just him. Him and only him. No one else gets hit. But one more Spirit Leech will put Scarbrand on death's door, and then that might be GG as Nurgle scraps their way back into it. Exalted Bloodletters fighting the Chaos Knights, fighting the Marauders, and the Demon Prince needs to be careful. This could be a deadly overextension. If the Exalted Bloodletters can get their shit together and actually get some good hits on him, they could slap this fool into the dirt, lower the leadership of Nurgle, and remove the threat of Scarbrand getting Spirit Leeched. Demon Prince of Nurgle needs to leave right now. He takes 200 HP from his little soiree in here, but it looks like he's going to survive. It looks like he's going to be fine, but dancing a little close to the sun here as Scarbrand continues to try and chase Soulgrinder Nurgle. He has 72 speed, it has 75. And the Demon Prince is coming over for that final Spirit Leech. The Exalted Bloodletters push off the Chaos Knights, push off Marauders. And for Nurgle, we still have an almost dead Demon Prince. We have 2 healthy-ish Skirmish Cav, healthy-ish Soulgrinder with limited ammunition. For Khorne, Scarbrand's just about dead. Marauder, half HP. Exalted Bloodletters, over half HP. More Marauders and Minotaurs are low enough that I don't really consider them threats at this point. And Scarbrand is just trying to get in range for this Rage Embodied. If he can get the Rage Embodied off, he will kill that Soulgrinder in a couple hits. But he's huffing and puffing as this Soulgrinder is starting to gain distance between them. He needs to start a charge animation, and it stops moving for just a second. That is key. Can he get the charge animation off, or even just pop the Rampage? Pop it, pop it, pop it. Rampage! Rampage, that son of a bitch! Scarbrand! Rampage! Rampage the Marauder Horseman into him. Does he have the tier 2 army ability to make him unbreakable and unable to die? If you have it, now's the time. Overcast his Spirit Leech onto Scarbrand. He starts his demonic instability crumble. It's all over, but he needs the tier 2 army ability. He's not going to get it in time. He gets one shot onto the Soulgrinder. Maybe a second one. I wasn't really paying that close attention to his getting hit. And the Demon Prince of Nurgle takes overcast damage from overcasting that Spirit Leech. He's down to 880 HP as he piles through the Minotaurs of Khorne. But that reduced leadership does take them out. Marauders charge in, get a little bit of damage onto the Demon Prince, and then the Demon Prince gets to safety. -9 leadership all of a sudden. He almost just demonic disability crumbled for no reason. Okay, that's a little spooky. That's a little scary. And the Soulgrinder is setting up to shoot. 5 volleys left. He's going to spend one of them on the Marauders, who are just terror routing. They're not natural routing yet, so the Soulgrinder does want to get rid of them. And there is the actual route. 3 volleys left for them. They went from 5 to 3. Okay, that's how math works. Can the Hellforged Host take these guys out? Oh no, they're in block formation. They need to spread out. They're trying to spread out now. In comes a Spirit Leech and a big volley from the Soulgrinder. One of the shots hits. It looks like we will have a Skirmish Cav charging into them. Should get pretty decent damage on such a low armor thing, but wow, they do great damage back onto the Marauder Horsemen of Nurgle. Demon Prince still up in the sky. Great play-by-play casting. You being sarcastic? You making fun of me right now? That's not nice. You shouldn't make fun of people. A compliment? This isn't allowed. This is bullshit. No, I'm just kidding. Thanks. Thanks, sir. Marauders of Khorne trying to rally up. 13 leadership left on them, and the Marauder Horsemen going to take a charge on them, see if they can just knock these guys out. They take a bunch of damage on the charge. Can they deal enough back to stay in the fight? 22 leadership on them, but they keep dipping back and forth between 11 and 22. Looks like it's faltering. Looks like they're down to -15. They will get routing. The Exalted Bloodletters still just want to fight. The Exalted Bloodletters are like, please, somebody, fight me. Now I wonder, with the amount of Spirit Leeches that have been cast, the amount of Stream of Corruptions that have been cast, and we did see a Fate of Buna earlier, I don't think the Demon Prince of Nurgle has a Fate of Buna to end this. It looks like he's going all in now, but there's the Relentless Rage, the unbreakable, unkillable for the Bloodletters of Khorne. And they get some shots onto the Demon Prince of Nurgle. His leadership goes to -13. Is it real? No, he gets back up to 4, and he gets back into the sky at 4 leadership. He will not demonic instability crumble just yet. Nurgle will hold on to their leadership, but if Marauders rout near him, I could actually see his leadership falling because nearby allies routing or whatever. He's down to 1 leadership. That's all he has left as he lands onto the Exalted Bloodletters of Khorne. The Soul Grinder's charging in with no ammunition left. 1 leadership for the Demon Prince of Nurgle as he continues to try and walk away. He's taken no damage from this charge in, but that 1 leadership, he is flirting with it. But the balance of power is tipping. It looks like it's going to go into Army Loss territory on the charge from this Soul Grinder. The Exalted Bloodletters of Khorne, negative 55 leadership, means it is the Army Losses. And that is a way to end a show match best of 5 with a final game where all the health bars are blinking and 1 leadership decided the battle. Because I legitimately think if that Demon Prince dies, the Exalted Bloodletters could have killed the Soul Grinder. Because the Skirmish Cap would have routed, and then that'd be it. Demon Prince of Nurgle, 2,100 value. Soul Grinder, 1,300. Plague Drones got wrecked. Chaos Knights got wrecked. Marauder, Horseman, Throwing Axes did very, very well, and the Marauders of Nurgle struggled. Scarbrand on the other side, 1,800 value, not bad for him. Had some key rampages. His Minos did a lot of work, as they always do. Fleshhounds didn't get a lot of value, but they were trying to protect Scarbrand from the Skirmish Cav. Khorne Skirmish Cav also got rolled by that Soul Grinder, but the Exalted Bloodletters and the Marauders did do a lot of good work, which is not something I have to say often about them. They didn't get a lot of value, but they did defeat the front line of Nurgle and force Lamb Sauce on the back foot. Very, very good games to both players. Thank you for hanging around at the stream. I do appreciate it. If you like content like this, do be sure to let us know in the comments and stuff so I know what people enjoy. It's a bit more fun. It's a bit more silly. Thanks again to Black Knight and Lamb Sauce for being such good sports. In DMs, I did not get a single complaint about the constantly changing rules or the faction matchups they ended up in. So both were very good sports about it. So thanks to everybody. I have some messages I'm going to go answer and whatnot, but yeah. Hope you all have a good night. Let's see if there's anybody I'm supposed to be passing you on to. Scarbrand should have stayed in melee with the Demon Prince rather than pulling back needlessly. The Skirmish Band shut down the Hounds in the early fight. Yeah. I mean, there's things that you can do better, right? There's things I can always do better too. Let's find a Warhammer 3 live stream, huh? Total War, Warhammer 3. Who the hell even streams this game anymore? Ikit's World Domination Scheme 2. Oh, that guy has subscribers only mode. I do not support subscribers only mode. It's fucked. It's fucked up. Sometimes I just want to pop in and say hi to somebody. I don't want to have to subscribe and do all this shit. There. Go raid that guy. Goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.